Yo boys, how is it going, and welcome to a very different Minecraft Hardcore video for you all today. I recently passed 5 years in this Minecraft Hardcore world, which is pretty insane to me. I remember starting this world back in 2020 in my small little room at university, expecting to probably die on like day 6, but here we are 5 years later, and I mean, we've accomplished a lot over those 5 years. So I thought it'd be a great idea just to head back down memory lane, revisit some of the key moments from the last 5 years in one long video. This also allows the number of new viewers that have had subscribed to my channel and view my channel the opportunity to get caught up on all that has gone on over the last 5 years without having to watch every single one of my hardcore videos. So if you do enjoy it, please drop a like, subscribe if you are new around here, and I think it's time to travel back in time to October the 8th, 2020, and start this world. And here we are, ready to go for day 1 in this brand new Minecraft Hardcore world, not quite knowing the absolute wild 5 years that was awaiting me in this game. We got a pretty good spawn actually, with a ruined portal right on our doorstep and easy access to an ocean, which is always super useful for going out and exploring. But before we get into any of that, as all new Minecraft Hardcore worlds go, and just Minecraft worlds in general, it was time to punch some trees. Now, if it looks like I am attempting a really poor speedrun of this game right here, that'd be because I'm still raging from just dying in the previous world to full damage. That was only a 1 month long world. I do kind of wonder sometimes how I would react if I died now, after 5 years. I have a little look around here to assess the situation of the spawn chunks, as back in 2020 these were pretty important for farms like iron and gunpowder ones. It did appear we were very much on a semi-secluded island, which at the time I was pretty annoyed about. However, I would soon come to love this area of my world. Our first diamonds came pretty quickly actually, as strip mining is super fast at finding them. I can't say the same nowadays, with Deep Slate kind of slowing down that whole process, as well as changes in where ores can now spawn. Rest in peace 11, you will be remembered. A quick hop across the dimensions into the Nether gives us the first real taste of the new Nether biomes, which at that time were fairly new. But nothing more than a quick look, as I was nowhere near geared enough for that kind of challenge yet. Day 3 started off in a weird way, with the forest next to spawn deciding to set itself on fire. I wish I could take credit for this level of arson, but unlike in 1997, my hands were pretty clean on this one. This should have been a sign for me to log off for the day though, as it was definitely an omen sent to warn me of what was to come.
Was way too close.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you do not do that when you still have iron armor. I wish I could say this was the last stupid thing I did in this world, or that this was the only time I've almost died, but that would just be a straight up lie. It is absolutely insane to me that that was almost the end of this 5-year hardcore world, just because I wanted a fucking fishing rod. After exploring for a while on day 8, I found my first village in this world, and even better, there was a librarian there whose books and lectern I could borrow permanently to take a big step towards having a fully powered enchanting table. By day 12, with a little bit of grinding and enchanting, we had a full set of diamond armor and tools. Fun fact, I don't move on to netherite till the middle of 2021, almost a year and a half into this world, as I was still holding on to that 2013 nostalgia of diamond armor being the best armor to have. And on day 14, the most historic moment ever in this world happened. A random pig wandered into this house I was building, and his name was to be Prime Pig. And since this day, he has literally not moved from that spot in my house. Sub with Twitch Prime. On day 44, after some time exploring in the Nether, we finally finished the house. The exterior of this house has literally not changed over the last 5 years, as it was the first thing I really built in this world, so I kind of wanted to keep it as it was. And after literally weeks in Minecraft days, I finally found my first zombie villager to cure and get busted trades from. This dude still lives in my basement today. Oh, and I'm not talking about in Minecraft. On day 58, I found this spider spawner that was right underneath my house, which is pretty cool, if I'm being honest, but I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot this thing even existed till I rewatched this footage when I'm making this video. But what's even cooler about this place is this is where I discovered my first enchanted golden apple, and god damn was I gonna need those things later down the road. On day 67, I finally went and found my end portal, and I honestly think this is the fastest I have ever found a portal room since I started playing this game back in 2012, 2013. Normally it takes me like a solid 40 minutes to find it, but I think I found it in about 5 minutes, which, yeah, that's absolutely insane. We also had just enough Eyes of Ender to fill the portal thanks to a couple of pearls I found in a chest. It would probably be helpful though if I made them into Eyes of Ender first though, before using them. On day 70, I prepared for battle and travelled to the end to face the Ender Dragon. This was to be the battle of the century. The clash of the titans, the face of actually was pretty easy, to be honest. I didn't take any damage the whole fight. Yeah, I've kind of done this a lot over the last however many years playing this game, so I'm always pretty prepared for that kind of fight. But this was the first big step in starting to prepare my world for the first mega project I was starting to kind of plan. You only need one guess for where this mega project would be built. Immediately after killing the Ender Dragon though, we headed off to the outer End Island to try and find ourselves an Elytra. For me, getting an Elytra as quickly as possible is super important, as it kind of adds a get out of jail free card for falling into the void below. And after spending quite a while looking for an end ship, I actually managed to find two right next to each other, so now we already had two Elytras. This would allow me to go and explore further and further away and find loads of cool stuff in the overworld. For this one, I'm going to hand back over to past Jscoop.
Skadoosh. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
On day 78, I made a massive sugarcane farm so that we had loads of fireworks at our disposal for using with the Elytra. I don't think this farm actually stayed up for very long, as it wasn't really efficient enough. Damn, I do miss those zero-tick sugarcane farms. On day 94, I wanted to create an XP farm so that I could fully upgrade my gear as well as heal all my tools that have mending on them. I plan to create an Enderman farm as they are pretty easy to build and can get you tons of XP really quickly. It would have been sketchy doing this over the void, but thanks to this new Elytra we have, I had a pretty cozy safety net. However, there was one little hole in this plan that caught me off guard once, and I made sure that would never happen again. On day 113, I wanted to find a fortress to grind out some wither skeleton heads, as the first big project I had planned for this world would take a lot of blocks being cleared, so I desperately needed a beacon with haste too. On this nether excursion, I also raided my first bastion and found my first piece of ancient debris, which was pretty exciting. We also managed to find the worst disc of all time, Pigstep. Yeah, I said it, and I will fight anyone who disagrees with that statement. I hate it. On day 125, I was continuing to work through a list of things I would need for this mega project I was planning. This included raiding our first ocean monument to grab some sponge and a range of prismarine blocks. I ended up raiding about 3 of them in the end, as there seemed to be an abundance of ocean monuments in this world. I mean, I've found about 40 to 50 over the last 5 years now, and they're pretty simple to raid. After clearing all those monuments, I clearly didn't quite get the dopamine rush I was after on that day, so I decided to take on the Wither for the first time, fighting him in the End Realm. It was, again, a pretty easy fight due to me over-preparing with strength and regen potions to the point that a random Enderman was more of a threat to me than the Wither. But with that, we got our first beacon, another huge milestone ticked off the list. This was the only time I would kill the Wither in open play, so to speak. From here on out, we would shove his head in the bedrock of the end portal home to kill him easily. Day 131, I committed murder. On day 133, I once again came to the realization that I still didn't have enough dopamine levels from raiding 3 ocean monuments and killing a Wither. So I packed my bags and prepared for the big journey to find a woodland mansion. I decided against raiding it that night, as in real time I had actually done all of this back to back, and it was probably not the smartest thing to do to take on a woodland mansion. I linked up a portal, torch gridded the roof so I could come back at a later date. On the way home from the mansion, I also managed to get a trident after slaughtering many innocent drowned over the course of the first 100 or so days. Sorry for the choppy footage, but this was filmed underwater. On day 140, I headed back to the woodland mansion to clear it out of all the mobs and hopefully get a handful of totems and potentially an enchanted golden apple. In reality, I only managed to get 1 totem somehow. But we did find this cool hidden room in the ceiling with a diamond chestplate in. This clip somehow managed to be viewed over 100,000 times on TikTok, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. On day 150, I carried on with the next steps to prepare for the first mega project. This included collecting a load of ghast tears to craft end crystals. These let you bring the Ender Dragon back to life, and I wanted to do that because I wanted to kill him another 19 times. Killing him a total of 20 times is for me effectively the End Realm being completed. Again, you only need one guess for the location of the first mega project. On day 167, my villagers started to conspire against me. On day 170, I began the grind to kill all 20 Ender Dragons in total, in order to unlock all the end gateways you possibly could around the island, essentially completing the end. This was the first time for me ever taking on the Ender Dragon while flying with an elytra, and let me tell you, it is probably my favourite thing to do in the game now. If you haven't, give it a try. There was one hitch with an Ender Dragon designed to fly through one of the end gateways, which teleported him to the outer end islands. A quick trip to the outer end islands fixed this though, as I didn't want to get jumped by an Ender Dragon further down the line. However, as you shall see later on this video, I only delayed the inevitable. With that arrow, we killed the Ender Dragon and completed the end, meaning we could start properly working on the first mega build in this hardcore world. And this build would be called Endhelm. We'll speak more on that later. On day 180, I wanted to level up our basic beacon to a fully powered one, so I built an iron farm, and a lot of you are probably thinking this is a really weird looking iron farm, which it most definitely is, as iron farms now are a lot simpler, but this was built 5 or so years ago now. I was particularly on the edge building this, as the last time I attempted to build this farm in hardcore, this happened. But contrary to the previous times, this was pretty stress-free. I managed to get the zombie and the villagers in their right places, and it started throwing down iron golems into their cute little lava paddling pool. And this farmer is still ticking today. On day 197, I wanted to go and find the 2 other end strongholds in the first circle around my spawn. For those of you that don't know, end strongholds spawn in circles going out from the spawn chunks. So you have 3 in the first circle, 6 in the second, 8 in the third, etc, etc. So I found one of the 3, but I wanted to check out the other 2, as I was specifically looking for an underwater stronghold for future plans. What I proceeded to find were 2 of the most scuffed strongholds I have ever seen in my life. I'm talking about open ceiling corridors in ravines with creepers waiting to throw themselves on my head, mobs hiding in every single crevice with, at one point, I walked around a corner and there were 4 creepers waiting to blow me. And no, I don't mean the good kind of blow. And also, loads of mob spawners built into the stronghold itself. I had the absolute worst time, and worst of all, I didn't even find one that was underwater. So that search would have to wait for another day. On day 213, I celebrated the first month of this world with this statement. Longest running one now. Since I've been streaming anyway. Time goes very fast. Soon, hopefully, it'll be a year. I doubt we'll make it to a year. Oh, how wrong I would turn out to be. On day 216, as I was exploring for more strongholds, I found this super rare biome. That's it. That's all I have written down here. I found a mushroom biome. Pog, I guess. Is that what the kids say nowadays? Let's swiftly move on. On day 228, I finally found an underwater stronghold. This would be really important for transporting certain things and potentially mobs from the overworld into the end for Endhelm. The first big step we needed to take inside of the end for Endhelm was to mine all of these obsidian towers down to the ground, as the plan was to flatten the island even more before building on top of it. This is a very time consuming and boring task, and is something I would do over the following month in little stints so that I didn't fall asleep on stream while I was doing it. I think my obsidian count for being mined now is around 45,000, which I don't know if I should be proud of that or depressed, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think I've actually spoken about this yet, but the general concept of this Endhelm mega project is to flood the entire end with water and to build some sort of underwater kingdom. You will have to wait and see how that evolves over the following years in this world. On day 242, I took a break from mining all that damn obsidian for a little throwback to the good old 2013 Minecraft days with a wheat and carrot farm. We would use the carrots from this farm to trade for a bucket load of emeralds, and that pretty much gives me the empire of emeralds I still have to this day. And the farm was officially christened with a skeleton horse trap spawning on top of it, which scared the absolute living shit out of me.
Oh, that's why!
On day 272, I wanted more totems for undying, as I only managed to get 1 from clearing out our woodland mansion. Many people have asked me over the last 5 years why I don't carry a totem in my offhand all the time, and personally for me, it's just not how I like to play the game, as I like to use my offhand for other items like torches or the blocks I'm placing. I'll only really put it in my offhand if I'm doing something I know is incredibly dangerous, otherwise I just view it as playing hardcore on easy mode. On day 300, I was beginning to rapidly run out of bulk storage space upstairs for items like sand, stone, and now obsidian, so I began to expand my house downstairs with a basement. It wasn't pretty, but it didn't really need to be at that moment, as I just needed somewhere to store loads of items. I also built a quick super smelter, as we were going to need a lot, and I mean a lot of glass for Endhelm. On day 324, we were down to the last obsidian tower. This had taken quite some time to do, but it was the next big step in preparing the end to be bombed by a TNT duper we were going to build. By day 330, we had leveled that final tower, giving us a pretty flat end island, which looked super bizarre, to be honest. I think the total obsidian mine just for doing the end was around 14,000, which is absolutely insane. You guys can do the maths on how long that took. On day 347, I created this TNT bomber flying machine. This contraption was extremely stressful to build on a survival world, especially in hardcore, but with no real threats around apart from my stupidity, I got it built and sent it on its merry way. This thing took a good 10 hours to run from start to finish as I watched it from a little viewing platform, which also allowed me to get a pretty cool time lapse out of it. This is the result of running that TNT duper, and it left a pretty big mess for me to sort out, but it gave us a lot more vertical space to work with when building what I had planned for Endhelm. One thing I did need to adjust though was the size of the island going outwards. The plan was to build an outer wall of glass around the entire island, but I wanted to encase each of the end gateways on this side of those walls. With some of them hovering over the void, I needed to make this slight adjustment. The glass that I was going to use for the outer wall in Endhelm was going to be made out of black glass specifically, so on day 432 I built a squid farm to get said black dye. This was going to be massively helpful in allowing us to take the next step in working on Oh, it doesn't work. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's fine. We'll just get rid of that one and build another one that's a little bit more complex. It's going to take a little bit longer by using this complicated system of using nether portals to transport. Okay. That one doesn't work either. Guess I'll just resort to killing the squids with my bare hands then. Day 474 marked the moment I started placing the high glass walls to tower over the top of the end island. This would eventually encase the water that we were going to fill it in with. We're essentially turning the end into a fishbowl. First guess of the video, how much black glass do you think this took to do? Past me will reveal this in a little while. On day 501, I was starting to get pretty fed up with manually collecting gunpowder every night from creepers for fireworks, so I created a creeper farm to collect this for me. Now, I hope you have your answers ready, and take it away past me for the reveal.
Glass. I said 42,000. Let's see how much. Oh, it's 41,000, we'll call that. That was close.
Let me know how close you guys were in the comments below. On day 687, we were once again adding another farm into our spawn chunks with a kelp farm. Kelp would be instrumental in flooding the end, as it allows you to make non-source water blocks source blocks. And if that makes no sense, I can't help you anymore, as that is the limit of my understanding too. This farm would also double up as a way of getting dried kelp blocks, so we didn't have to rely on collecting coal for fuel anymore. Also, please ignore the cringe signs being put up. I don't know why I thought this was funny back in 2020. After many days AFK in the kelp farm, I was praying that I had enough to fill the end with water. So on day 914, I took myself to the end and started placing down water. This works by placing source blocks around the entire rim of the bowl. From there, we place kelp at strategic places, and for some reason, the game just decides it needs to fill in the blocks with water. Oh no, man. Some tech genie can explain in more details if they want. All I know is water go brrrr. It does lead to some bizarre scenes like this one. And after many hours placing both water and kelp, we had created one of the most ridiculous looking things in Minecraft hardcore history. Like what even is this? No one should be looking at the end in this kind of state. Let me tell you something, Notch did not imagine anyone doing something like this in his game when he started making it back in the day. With the prep work all done, it was time to begin building the first structure in this project. In particular, the first one I wanted to focus on was the centerpiece of the build. The plan was simple. I was going to build a 1-to-1 replica of Dragon's Reach from Skyrim in the center of the end on a floating island. Now, you're probably thinking this was a pretty ambitious idea. And yeah, it is. It took a very, very long time to bring that vision to this world. To start off though, I wanted to have some sort of front gate that people would have to go to get through to the castle. With my builds, I always like to make sure everything logically makes sense. So I created these two large towers at the front out of a mix of purple bricks and the roof out of warped wood. The two new Nether woods would be a pretty big theme of this project as they were relatively new blocks at the time and I wanted to try and use them somehow. I expanded this initial idea out even further by creating a complete perimeter around where the castle would go to make a kind of battlement. During building this, I also passed 1,000 days in this world, which was pretty insane at the time, to be honest. I was really happy with how this turned out, and it really made me want to smash rebuilding Dragon's Reach out of the park. But first, there were a couple of housekeeping items I wanted to take care of. On day 1077, I wanted to actually kit the basement out properly so it didn't just look like I dug down a few blocks and placed some chests, which is exactly what I had done. I felt it needed to be ocean themed as I planned on making a big window at the front so I could see out into the ocean, like one of those classic underwater Minecraft bases you would see on YouTube back in 2012. So I primarily used a mix of prismarine blocks to make a kind of grid pattern on the floor and ceiling. This basement also needed to be big enough to move my important villagers down from the main bit of the house into their new $5,000 per month luxury apartments, as I was bored of looking at their faces when I was in my house. I also had this great idea in the middle of making the window to create a gap in the window so I could just fly in and out of the basement wherever I needed to. To finish off the basement, I wanted to embed the chests into the wall so they weren't sticking out into the room, so I made this little doorway for them, ran some water down the back, and shoved them in.
Ah! Sticky keys.
On day 1118, I decided I wanted to spruce up my spawn chunks even more, so I grabbed a load of beehives and placed a few spruce trees around, including a massive one in the middle, cased it all in glass that was shaped like a beehive to make a cute little bee farm. I would eventually make the colour of the glass actually match the colour scheme of a beehive. This is also the first time I showed my ugly mug in a Minecraft hardcore video. I apologise. I had also grown tired of flying out to my small little Enderman XP farm every time I wanted to enchant something, so I built a super juiced one in the middle of the island, so the Enderman would fall right down in front of the portal home. This would eventually be moved when I came to build Dragon's Reach, which on day 1300 I began its construction. Building the exterior of this thing would take a good few months due to the absolute scale of this monster. Looking back, I definitely underestimated how big it really was and how many resources it would take to create. To name this place, I just rebranded Dragon's Reach into Ender Dragon's Reach. And to walk you through the process of building this absolute behemoth, I literally had Skyrim open in another tab the entire time while I was building this, and was just flicking back and forth to try and replicate it the best I could. The only major change that I made was the color palette. I thought it would be a bit boring if it kind of looked exactly the same as it did in Skyrim, so I changed up the wood types from like a dark oak or spruce kind of wood for some of the new nether wood, kind of like really made it my own. I was originally only planning to do the front section of the Reach, and I was going to leave like there's the stone back bit of it. I was going to leave that bit, but I changed my mind pretty quickly because chat was convincing me to either go big or go home. Many regrets. I've made many regrets over the years of listening to chat. In order to create the cobblestone back, I would need a load of cobblestone, and as I honestly could not be asked to mine that manually on day 1409, I created a super fancy cobblestone generator which would literally create 5 double chests of cobblestone every 10 minutes, which was more than enough to get started on working on the back of Ender Dragon's Reach. On day 1441, I got jump scared by a goat.
Vad är fullständigt? What is your problem?
Of all things to make a dude jump in this game, this is pretty low down on this list. I'm pretty ashamed, to be honest. At the same time, I also grabbed myself a couple of allies, as I needed them for a farm I was looking at building. And yes, it was a third attempt at a squid farm. To prepare myself for the dangers that awaited me in building this squid farm, I needed to warm up first. Okay. In all seriousness, this was a pretty dangerous farm to build, as it uses guardians to kill the squid. This would mean building around a load of guardians who would just want to snipe me and kill me. Now, some of you may be thinking, a potion of invisibility just fixes all this. Well, that's where you're wrong, and stupid. For some reason, they get suspicious when they see a bunch of floating armor in the ocean, so they just kill it. Unless you're wearing only boots. I guess they have something against feet. I don't know. Nevertheless, after an incredibly stressful experience, I finally had a squid farm that works. It only took 2 years and 3 attempts. With that, it was time to continue building out this centerpiece in Endhelm by starting to work on the massive island it was going to sit on. However, there was one issue, which was the island was going to be way too tall and would actually go into the ground below it. So the genius that I am had a great idea.
I've had a much better idea. Yes. Fuck going through all the stress of trying to do a crater.
Why don't we mine everything under here all out again?
So it's literally going into the void. And we put black glass all on the bottom, so you literally see straight into the void. That's a much cooler idea. I like that one instead.
And with that, I proceeded to mine thousands upon thousands of endstone while watching videos of cats. What the fuck are my streams, man? Over the coming days, I would finish off the island, completely decorate the inside of Ender Dragon's Reach. Again, pretty much a one-to-one of the inside of Dragon's Reach in Skyrim, as well as build a newer version of my Enderman XP farm in the top parts of Reach. And also this cool ass dragon head. This place was really starting to come together, and I hadn't even started thinking about what I was going to put outside of the castle walls yet.
You want to hear me really cry though? You don't want to hear me really cry.
Woo! Let's fucking go, boys! Oh! No! No!
This is what 5 years in hardcore Minecraft does to a man. On day 1667, I wanted a little bit of a break from all the mega project work in the end, so I spruced up the area around my house a bit more with some moss and azalea related blocks, so they had a bit more character to it. One of my next projects I am planning is a complete revamp of my spawn chunks with a load of custom biomes, but I am definitely a while off starting that. On day 1727, another tragedy occurred while clearing the endstone under Ender Dragon's Reach.
Work done when you...
Yeah, I had a tendency to break tools like this, and it still continues to this day. I think in total I've broken, I think around 10 netherite tools now, which is, yeah, pretty bad, to be honest. I also had a great idea to add a beheaded skeleton at the back of Ender Dragon's Reach to go with the head that was on the wall in the main hall. If you don't know the lore of Skyrim, basically Dragon's Reach was built as a prison to entrap a dragon. So why not put a skeleton at the back here with the trap closed around its neck, just to show where that head came from. And on day 1829, the nightmare was finally over.
242,252 later. It's all gone.
And with that, the centerpiece of Endhelm was complete. And let me just say, I might be slightly biased here, but it looks pretty damn good in my eyes. Next on the agenda for Endhelm was to start working on the ideas I had outside of the castle walls. The first one I had was to make a little village where I would build things like a blacksmith's and a library. But before that, I wanted to pay homage to Skyrim once more by building the house you can buy in Whiterun, which is called Breezehome. I used to buy this place on every playthrough I ever did on Skyrim, and let me tell you, that is a lot of playthroughs. I have hundreds, if not thousands of hours in that game. On day 2089, I wanted to finish off this idea I had been testing out with the obsidian pillars left in the end. I was going to cover them in a layer of crying obsidian and make them pointed on both ends so they kinda look like big obsidian crystals. The lore idea for this was that these crystals harnessed some sort of power that was holding the island that Ender Dragon's Reach sits on in the air to stop it from falling out the bottom of the island into the void. Now, some of you may or may not know, crying obsidian is a ball ache to get. You either find it in a chest, or you mine it from a ruined portal, or from piglins. So I set up a shitty quick piglin farm and gathered it that way, which took quite a bit of time if I'm being honest. But we got there in the end, and the result is, well, is rewarding, I'll tell you that much. With that done, it was time to refocus on this underwater village I was building. To go next to Bree's home, I built a blacksmith's, as every Elder Scrolls town needs one of those. I had also plotted out general zones I wanted to put buildings in. My plan in each of those was a pub, a library, and some sort of merchants. As some of you may have noticed, your favourite white boy has disappeared from view in the bottom left. At this point, I had taken a break from streaming around the start of 2022, and I haven't really returned since, as I just found it easier to film these Minecraft videos instead of streaming them. I am hoping to come back and do some more streams in the future every Friday or something, but life is pretty hectic right now with me just having moved house. Anyway, enough about my life, you don't give a shit about that. We finished both the merchants and the pubs, but before jumping into building the library, I wanted to take a quick trip to the outer islands for some shulker boxes. Sounds easy enough, right? Well, Minecraft, as it always does, had very, very strong other ideas. The End Islands. Okay, we are looking for some cities. Well, there's one there, but I'm pretty sure we must have already been in that one. Wait, what? What? What's that? What? Okay. What the fuck are you doing there? You should not be there. What the? Oh my god, if that thing heads straight back to my island, it's gonna absolutely obliterate it. Yeah, this was not ideal. I thought I caught the dragon that flew through one of my end gateways all those years ago. However, I had not seen that another two had also flown through the gateways. This meant that these two were sitting dormant for around 3 years, waiting for me to load these chunks in that they were sitting in. And now they were both beelining it for the center of the End Island, which was now completely occupied by Ender Dragon's Reach. And so commenced the battle for Endhelm. After the dust had settled from the battle, it was time to analyse the damage, and let's just say, Ender Dragon's Reach needed some serious repair work being done. Those dragons really fucked it up. And so, on day 2142, the reconstruction of Ender Dragon's Reach commenced. Now, I was pretty pissed when this happened, but now looking back at it, it was actually cool as fuck find 2 Ender Dragons in Reach and under the island. It was like something out of a cinematic movie. I also wanted to have the damage from the Ender Dragons be incorporated into the lore of Ender Dragon's Reach, so I left some bits of damage around the build. And after about 30 in-game days, it was all repaired and back to its normal self. So I set out to do what I was originally planning to do, get some more shulker boxes. With that done, it was time to crack on with the next step in the village I was building. Next up was to build a library. This was the final building left in this quaint little town. Honestly, this was my favourite building out of all the ones I built, as it had such cozy vibes to it. Next up on the list was to build some sort of monument in the middle, similar to the tree that sits in the middle of Whiterun, but I was coming up blank with ideas on what to do. So to try and inspire myself, I spent day 2184 exploring, as sniffers had just been added to Minecraft, and I wanted to get myself one. So I grabbed my brush and located my first piece of sussy sand. And was it to be first time luck? No, it was a wooden fucking hoe. I hate this game sometimes. After many attempts, I finally got myself a sniffer, which I proceeded to call Boy Sniffer? What the fuck is wrong with me, man? Anyway, back into Endhelm here, where I finally had an idea for what to put in the center of this village. Leaning back into the lore of this place, I was thinking of Elder Scrolls and how in a couple of the games there have been these weird ass cults that worship strange monuments around Tamriel. I wanted to link that back to Minecraft, and what I came back with was, what if the people in this village worshipped a big ass dragon egg that was a monument? Makes sense, right? Now, it would just be boring to make a dragon egg, so I stuck a conduit in the monument as well and made it out of prismarine bricks to kind of make it fit in with the vibe of being underwater. I also wanted the egg to represent the life force of the village, as this egg was actually keeping the villagers alive by providing conduit power. And after about 30 minutes, this is what I came up with, and I think it looks pretty cool. The final couple of pieces to finish off this little village was a lava well, as, well, they didn't exactly need water, did they? And a little bit of terraforming to make it look like the bottom of the sea. And ladies and gentlemen, I would love to introduce you to Enderwood Hamlet. I really like this little town. It was genuinely like building my own little Elder Scrolls town, but in Minecraft. Pretty awesome. On day 2212, it was time to take the next step in Endhelm, which was to create a massive tree behind Enderwood Hamlet that would sit atop a little hill. I wanted in every corner of Endhelm there to be like some sort of centerpiece that you could see. And in the top left, I thought a massive tree would look pretty cool. As we were underwater, it seemed to make sense to replace the leaves on the tree with coral. And so after collecting thousands of acacia logs and thousands of blue coral, it was time to build this thing. Let me just say, this was the hardest thing I built in Endhelm by a country mile. Not even Ender Dragon's Reach was this hard. I'm not particularly good at building natural looking structures like trees, so building this thing was way out of my comfort zone. You know what though, I will sing my praises and say despite all this, it turned out pretty good. Especially with like the sea pickles and red coral on top to just kind of top off the tree. I do really love it. And with that, the left hand side of Endhelm was complete, and it was time to focus on the right hand side, which was looking very barren now in comparison. On day 2345, I took another break from building in Endhelm to look for some of the new dog variants. I hadn't actually managed to tame a dog yet in this world, so I thought it was about time to grab a couple to have at home. I also grabbed a couple of the new armadillos so that I could craft some wolf armor for them. 1.21 was also released during this little break I was taking from the end, so I supplied up and headed out to find some trial chambers to get the new mace weapon. I thought the trial chambers would be super easy to beat, but my stupid brain had other ideas.
One with the baby zombies in. Yes, it is. What have you got? Oh shit. Fucking hell. I fucking hate these guys. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, get me out of there, get me out of there. Holy fuck, I'm trying to go on an apple. Fuck, 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 get me out of here. Get me out of there, coach, get me out there. Holy shit, I just almost died. Oh my god, what? Get me away. I can hear the little footsteps chasing me. Get me down the hole. Get me, I want to get out of here. Fucking Jesus.
Yeah, this was a pretty big wake-up call for me, as I had become a little bit too relaxed over the last few years, but the only close death I had had on this world was on the second day of playing it. And with that, I retired from the trial chambers for the time being and headed home through the Nether. What? Oh, shit, 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 shit! Oh fuck. Oh fuck, oh, fuck, 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 fuck! Oh no. Oh no. Ah. Okay, get the tome in my hand, get the tome in my... Oh! Fuck, 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 get me out, get me... Yeah, that was literally within 15 minutes of each other. I don't even know how that happened, but I started to get this sinking feeling that the game wanted me dead. With that in mind, I now wanted to move full steam ahead on finishing off Endhelm. And so on day 2394, I began the right hand side of Endhelm. The first thing that we were going to build on this side was a farmhouse with a field of crops to go with it, because every kingdom needs to have some sort of crops in a field. I think that's a pretty staple thing to have there. I also included some stables in the farmhouse, as I had collected way too many skeleton horses throughout the years from skeleton traps, and this was the perfect place to put them as they can't drown. This is pretty much the finished product, apart from a couple of changes that I'll get into in a second. I really like the crop area. I do wish there were more things I could plant underwater, like chorus fruit or something, but it's pretty restrictive, so I just stuck with coral. The last couple of bits I needed to do was some terraforming around the farmhouse, and I needed to decide what block to put at the bottom of these wooden pillars. While designing this thing in creative, I thought the lodestones would look pretty good at the bottom. That was until I discovered that I needed netherite ingots to make them. Any normal person would go find something else, but not me. I was committing. So I spent the next 6 hours mining enough ancient debris to craft them all and finish off the farmhouse. But wait, it gets better. Literally, and I mean literally days after doing this, Mojang released a lovely little snapshot that had changed the crafting recipe for this, and that you only needed an iron ingot, no netherite. Oh, Mojang, I do fucking love you so much sometimes. Anyway, swiftly moving on from that slight mental breakdown, the next item to build in Endhelm was a wizard tower in the back right corner. This was something I had always planned to build when I first jotted down a little design for Endhelm. The plan was to have one large central tower and then 2 small floating wings off to the side of it. I primarily made it out of deep slate and endstone bricks to give it kind of like a gothic, mysterious style. I really want to make sure this looked perfect, as it was the building I was looking forward to building the most, pretty much out of everything outside these walls. So it took quite a while to get it right in my mind, but in the end I think it turned out really well, especially with the prismarine roof on top. This was the final building for Endhelm, as all that was really left to do was a little bit of terraforming around the back, and I needed to fill in a gap between the farmhouse and the wizard tower. And in this gap I was going to build some underwater sea vents. There are loads of these underwater across the globe, so I thought, why not bring these into Endhelm? The original plan for this area when I first jotted it down was to build a mountain, but I just thought that was way too much and would potentially overshadow everything else, so I think air vents was a pretty good call. I wanted to build both a hot and a cold themed vent, so for the hot one I used red sand and magma blocks, and the cold themed one I went with endstone, sandstone and soul soil. And by putting campfires inside of them with signs on the top, we could get this pretty cool smoking effect. While building these vents, I also came up with a way to nicely cover up the end gateways with this neat little design, with prismarine blocks and sea lanterns to make it look like we're not even covering anything up. So I did this all the way around the end for all 20 of them. With that, the end was 99% done. All that I had left to do was a little snagging list I'd built out, and so on day 2469 I began working through this list. First up, I wrote the entire B-movie script into a book and put it in the library. And no, that is not a joke. I really did that. Next up, I wanted to get a little bit more sea life into the end, so I gathered up a load of tropical fish, a couple of dolphins, as well as some squid and glow squids. Unfortunately, the dolphins didn't last very long as they both drowned themselves. I mean, they were talking about it, they were feeling down, but I didn't really think they'd go through with it. I also went to a lush cave and gathered up a bunch of axolotls to put in the end, but I learned very quickly that this was a really bad idea, as for some reason they have some sort of blood feud with a fish and just started killing them, so all the axolotls had to go. Don't ask any questions about how. Next up, I prettied up the interior of the battlements with some armor stands and item frames, but I am planning on swapping all this iron armor and iron tools out for copper armor once 1.21.9 comes around. The final thing to do inside of these glass walls was to finish terraforming the floor with seagrass, coral and coral trees. After many hours of repetitive placing of trees, everything inside these 4 black glass walls was complete. I know it's not really 4 black walls, it's a circle, but you know what I mean. And to wrap up this project, I wanted to make it look like the ocean was trying to escape through the end portal, so I transformed the end portal room into this, the final piece in the puzzle. And let me just say, this project is the most incredible, stupid, brilliant thing I've ever done in this game, and I'm super proud of it. If you do want a tour of it in more detail, click the link that just popped up, and if you want to see a quick montage of all the progress from the start to the finish, you can see it on the featured video on my channel. With the first mega project complete, it was time to take a break from that kind of project work. Psych! I moved straight into the next mega project in this world, which came to me in a dream about 1.5 years ago. This project would take place in the Nether and included creating a massive void cube the size of 500 blocks by 250 blocks, from the bedrock ceiling to the bedrock floor. I knew going into this it was going to be a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work just preparing this place. I think at the time I estimated about a year's worth of prep time to create the cube, and I was not far off that number, as we would need to remove every block from this area, including all of the lava. And so on day 2582, the work on this still unnamed project commenced. The first issue was removing this chunky bit of landmass surrounding the Nether fortress. This was no easy task, made even harder by the fact it was near a fortress, as I was constantly being shot at by blazes and skeletons. I had to use a combination of manually mining it away as well as using TNT to clear it. I also almost had an oopsie on the first couple days of this project. Oh, lava. Oh, shit, it's going to set off the TNT. It's alright. We're okay. We're okay. Just to be safe, let's put that in there. Right. Let's get out of the lava. Dude, what am I doing? Oh, shit. Oh! Oh my god, what am I doing? What am I actually doing? Or am I even awake right now? What the fuck actually was that? What the fuck? I need to go to bed. I've clearly been mining netherite for too long. Holy shit-a-moly. Clearing this place was way too tedious for my brain and was going to take far too long. Not to worry though, as I had devised a cunning plan to clear this massive area. And so on day 2566, Project Nagasaki began. The plan was simple. We were going to line the entire ceiling of the Nether with TNT and set off a massive chain reaction to obliterate the Nether. I had strategically placed lines of TNT in this 500 by 250 area to make sure every block of the ceiling was cleared. It was my master plan. It was dangerous, yes, but worth the risk. Only one thing could go wrong, but I was confident that couldn't... Whoa, get down! Holy shit! What the fuck's it? Ah! I wasn't looking where I was driving, officer. I'm sorry. Holy, what the fuck? What the hell set it off? It's still blowing up. Oh my god, get me away from this place. Yeah, that didn't exactly go to plan. I actually investigated how it all set off, and it was this one stream of lava that spread all the way to that block there. Fire spread in this game is a joke. After some analysis of the situation, I very quickly came to the conclusion that I had actually created more work and hassle from doing this than just mining it all by hand. I am so stupid sometimes. And so, on day 2759, Operation Get Rid of Netherrack began. I am not good at naming these things, am I? This was an incredibly hefty task and would include strategically placing TNT as well as avoiding loads of hoglins that were eager to slap me off the top of the roof. And I know you're thinking, what's the plan here? How are you going to mine all of this netherrack? I mean, I'm not going to mine all of it, just enough of it so that I can bring back one of the OGs of this world, the TNT bomber I used to flatten the End Island. We were going to use this to do exactly the same thing here, but before getting into that, we needed to clear enough space to be able to run it across the entire area. I would have liked to say this was easy to do, and it was for the most part, bar one small little incident. I get really fucking upset when I do that. Right, let's get rid of you. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, you hold on to that gold, real fucking tight, holy fuck. Oh my god, I'm so fucking stupid. Brushing right past that and pretending it didn't happen. On day 3,269, yes, it took almost 500 Minecraft days, and after over 700,000 netherrack being mined, this plateau was ready to be demolished by the World Eater. What made building this bomber more stressful than when I had to build it in the end was that a ghast could come along at any moment and ruin my fun. And by fun, I mean blow me up. And by blow me up, I mean I would fucking die. But after an hour of butt-clenching action, I was almost ready to blow myself up. I was ready to, only half of it is working. Now we're talking. Thunderbird 1 was a go and flying with a purpose. This thing was absolutely demolishing this place. I did have to go for a lovely dip in the lava streams to try and clear them as much as I could as the machine continued to go around in an attempt to unearth any hidden blocks underneath them, otherwise they wouldn't get blown up by the machine. And after many hours, and I mean many hours, like it took over 15 hours just to run it across this area. But the first wave was done, and I learned very quickly that we would need to run this thing at least one more time till all we were left with was an ocean of lava. While the second run of the TNT bomber was running, I also began laying the foundations for the next stage of clearing this area. Phase 1 was to prep the area for the bombers, Stage 2 was to nuke the place, and Stage 3 and 4 were to build up black concrete walls and sand. And by sand, I mean we needed to fill the entire lava ocean in with sand. And I'm talking about placing hundreds of thousands worth, potentially even 1 million blocks of sand. But before we got to the sand section of this build, as my favourite Oompa Loompa would say, it's time to build a wall. In order to build this wall, I calculated I would need 1,000... What would I buy that? A million... a fuck ton of concrete. Up to now, I had been manually placing the powder next to water and then just mining it. And you must think I'm fucking crazy if I'm going to do that for thousands worth of concrete. So, as every great Minecrafter does when they don't know what the fuck to do, I looked up a farm tutorial on YouTube and built it in my world. This farm was pretty insane and definitely saved me hours upon hours of manually mining concrete. So with my shulkers filled to the brim, it was time to commence Operation Black Concrete. Man, still this naming shit. With that, all the walls were complete, closing us off completely from the rest of the Nether, which was really important as I wanted to limit as much ghast activity as possible. By day 3,793, the day I had been dreading since I had the idea for this project, it was time to start with the sand. I always knew I would need to place loads of sand to fill in this lava, but I never quite anticipated how much it would actually take and how long it would take. This was phase 4 of my 10-phase plan to create this void, before we even get into what was going to go inside of it. I'm not too sure what to say here. My script is blank, apart from one word, which is sand, that has been written with grains of sand by the looks of things. Yeah, it took a while. A couple of big hurdles that I came across were that you couldn't let sand just fall on the top of soul sand, otherwise it destroys the blocks. And it was just my luck that about half of this area had soul sand on the lava ocean floor. So I had to cover myself in fire res potions and walk as fast as my grandma on the floor getting rid of these blocks. The other hurdle that I came across was because we were creating such a large landmass. I mean, we were just
it was a massive plateau of just sand we were creating. Ghasts was spawning like no fucking tomorrow. And they made my beautiful black walls look like massive slices of Swiss cheese, which wasn't exactly ideal. I was also terrified of being smacked into the lava by all these mobs that were spawning around me, so I constantly had fire res on, which definitely saved my skin quite a few times. During this time, I also hit day 4000 in this world, which was absolutely incredible, and still to this day, I don't know how I've made it this far. It honestly is, there is so much dumb luck at this point, but eventually that luck does run out. Okay, fuck a duck, that's hot, get me out, Why do I keep doing this? I've been doing this for too long now. I've been doing this for too fucking long. Well, also, my stupidity doesn't really help, does it? And with that, I placed the final block of sand, completely getting rid of all the lava in this box. Till I blow up the floor beneath me again, exposing even more lava pockets. But for now, I could celebrate after placing nearly 900,000 sand and mining 1.25 million of it. Just think about that for a second. Holy shit. I need to leave the house more. This is getting depressing. This place did look pretty nuts again, with all the lava gone, but it was time to cause even more destruction with the World Eater once again. And day 4324 was the day we set about eradicating the remaining blocks in this nether area. So all that we were left with would be the bedrock ceiling and the bedrock floor. One pro that I found of doing this project that I hadn't really considered at the time was the amount of ancient debris we would uncover. I was finding so much of it, especially at the lower levels. So if you're looking for a quick and easy way to get netherite, scrap the bed tactic, just get yourself one of these bad boys. Actually, we'll do another guess here. Take a guess at how much ancient debris I managed to get my hands on, because I could not believe how much it was when it came time to collect it all. So the first run here was complete, but due to a lot more lava pockets appearing than I had anticipated, there were still large clumps of netherrack dotted around. Instead of mining this, I just thought, why not run the bomber again? So that's exactly what I did. Whilst the final bomber run was taking place, I started to repair the damage done to my precious wall by the ghast till it was looking nice and silky smooth again. And on day 4526, it was time to retire an absolute legend of this Minecraft hardcore world. It had done its job superbly, and honestly, I don't think we could have done this project as well as the end project without it. So shout out to the machine and its creator Ray's works. Absolutely nuts, dude. Incredible farms he's made. Yeah, go check out his channel, go subscribe if you haven't already. He's quite a big dude, but still, go and check him out. He's also got like this massive spreadsheet of like, if there's a block or an item in Minecraft you really want, he will have a farm for it. And he has a little spreadsheet that will send links to where you can go and find a farm for it. So go check that out. I found it super useful over the last 5 years to have access to something like that. I hope you guys have your answers ready for the ancient debris guess. We have accumulated almost 10 stacks worth of ancient debris, or more specifically, 629 ancient debris. Absolutely wild. And with that, that's a wrap on Phase 5 to bomb it again. Phase 6 to tidy away the remaining lava. Phase 7 to bomb it one last time. And Phase 8 to collect all the ancient debris. With the final 2 phases being, yes, you guessed it, go and find a pale garden. Okay. It wasn't really, but I wanted a break from the nether. It had been quite a hefty task to do all that sand and all the concrete. I was getting bored of, I was getting a bit bored of it. So I needed a little bit of a break. So I put off moving on to the pale garden version for quite a while, like almost a full year by the time I got round to it, but I was planning on using some of the pale garden blocks in the nether project at some point, so I needed to find one so I could farm it. Not only did I find a pale garden though, but I also found pandas. I had been looking for these for almost 4.5 years in this world. 4.5 years, I could never find one. And there was no particular reason for it, I just wanted to have them near my house. But this wasn't even the most amazing discovery, as I also managed to stumble upon this. What is that? Wait, what? What is that a spawner? Is that a spawner? What kind of There's a spider spawning up. What the actual... I've never seen that before. I've never seen a spawner in a woodland mansion before. That's got to be super, super rare. With that amazing discovery, it was time to refocus my attention to where it should be. The Spring to Life update. I'm not even joking. I wanted to get some of the new cows and chicken variants and fireflies to put in my spawn chunks. Now that's all fairly easy to collect, to be honest, but no Jscoop exploration video is without an amazing discovery. I've got more of these than deserts at this point. Like genuine, and it's right. Hold on. Did I just see? There's an ocean. There's an ocean monument right next to it as well. Holy. Oh, what the fuck? There's a stronghold under this thing, as well as an ocean one right next to. Oh my god, this has got to be so yeah, it's gone down in the floor. It's under the floor here. Yes, you got that right. A mushroom island next to an ocean monument with an end stronghold beneath it. It might genuinely be the rarest thing I've ever found in this world. Genuinely. Absolutely nuts. And with that is 5 years in Minecraft Hardcore. Well, at least 5 years worth of videos. Sorry guys, I am a bit behind at the minute. As of the 8th of October, which is the actual 5-year anniversary of the world, the cube is complete. Spoiler alert. And I've already started work in building a couple of things in this place. Let's see if anyone can guess the theme of this project from just looking at what we've done so far. I will eventually catch them up. As I said earlier, life's been pretty hectic at the minute. With moving and everything, and I'm like fully redecorating this house, so like my desk has moved about 7 times around this place, so I do apologize. But that's 5 years. I want to thank you guys so much for watching these videos and the streams over the last 5 years. This little hobby of mine has turned into something I am super, super proud of, and I can't wait to hit 10 years. I don't want to hit 10 years. Oh no, man. This vid did take a very long time to put together because, like, it is 5 years worth of, like, footage I had to go back and watch. It was a nice little trip down down nostalgia lane. But if you did enjoy, please subscribe if you are new around here. Drop a like, and I will see you soon. Catch you later, boys.